My name is Jacki Dangermondu, and I have a series of questions that were prepared for me. I will go through them systematically, reading them or answering them more directly in my own words. Some people often regard me as a father of geographic information systems, and that was not true. Actually, my dear colleague and friend, Dr. Roger Tomlinson, first came up with a name and built the first geographic information system in Canada. His vision for a GIS in the very beginning was to create an information system about geographic phenomena, forests, water, land, natural resources. Over the years, this vision has evolved to become a more general purpose platform of all sorts of geographic phenomena, including where cars are, the IoT, real-time information, weather, raster data, vector data, satellite pictures, and all of the maps that are commonly held in a database today. Also, we are increasingly making GIS into a 3D platform, a 3D system of record for advanced visualization and support by things like virtual reality and augmented reality. So a lot of technologies has evolved, and as the technology has evolved, it has enriched both the concept of GIS as well as the technology itself. So the concept is emerging to be a kind of reference system, a kind of dimension and reference system of all geographic information, but also all information. So people are beginning to think of location and geography as a dimension to all information. So it's not a type of data, it's an enriching part of virtually all data, where people are located, where cars are located, where pictures are taken, the pictures themselves, adding geographic dimension to them. This is a powerful evolution in the idea of geography being a foundation for all information. Now, why is geography so important in the world? Because it is not only content about our world, but it also gives context to our world. The dimension aspect of geography, the spatial dimension aspect of geography, means that I can take any type of information, tabular information, real-time information, imagery information, and integrate it. So location becomes a kind of dimension of all information, not simply a type of information. It is a technology which allows us to computerize maps and geographic data into a database. We can also analyze geography in a digital way. Now, to the normal consumer, that sort of seems like consumer mapping on the web. But to the enterprise organization, it really means having a system of record of all their geographic information with XY coordinates on it, like pipelines, parcels, buildings, trees, water, events, demographics, etc. These digital layers of information can be brought together and science performed on them, like the maps be overlaid computationally to create new maps, which are interpretations that show things like where can I locate best, where should I live considering all the factors that I care about, where should I route my vehicle, where are the bad guys, where are the good guys, where are the health epidemics. All the phenomena that we think about in a digital form are now being put into GISs and made available through mapping. I founded ESRI as a company that performs land use analysis, but this role quickly evolved into GIS software development. This was an interesting transition. We moved from doing actual project work to the idea of building tools that would allow other people to do project and information system work. This was dictated largely by what people needed and wanted. as we saw it, we could leverage the ideas, the powerful ideas of geographic information system technology being applied by others rather than us doing all of the work ourselves. This is very motivating and continues to be one of the big drivers of the Esri organization. Consumer mapping, such as Google Maps or Microsoft Maps or Apple Maps, definitely built on the early visions of putting geography into the computer. But their focus has been largely on consumer visualization and consumer applications, like where is it, how do I get there? These consumer base maps are powerful and have opened the world's eyes to the power of geospatial visualization. But what requires the application of geography to come alive is much deeper and richer capabilities, spatial analytic capabilities, modeling capabilities, being able to do big data science, and even today, artificial intelligence and machine learning. These kind of capabilities are particularly interesting to enterprises, both big businesses and big government, because they allow the better management of cities or the better management of corporations or even whole countries. They allow governments to be able to take more effective action in the development of solutions for society. When you look at the Esri website and the articles that we publish in many journals, hundreds of journals around the world, GIS is presented as much more than simply mapping or navigation in vehicles. It's the analytic part which enriches GIS to support applications in things like finance or healthcare or governing in various sectors. This technology is important and has created a whole watershed of professionals who are applying GIS in their own specialized areas. Esri's software has evolved to be a platform for real-time IoT integration. This means that we can read in the Internet of Things, measurements about places or measurements about moving things, and create live or dynamic maps. This is very powerful because it's unlike a geology map. It allows us to see in real time what's going on. This supports smart cities. It supports situation awareness on events or all sorts of things. So the world is moving from static digital data to real-time geographic data. This is the foundation for smart utilities, for smart cities, for more effective and more efficient transportation, supply chain automation, and real-time business decision-making. ArcGIS is the flagship for Esri's technology, and it leverages many types of information for application in many kinds of settings. While this technology is grounded in the fundamental concepts that were in the company at the very beginning, it has evolved through different engineering cycles, through mainframes and mini computers and workstations and different iterations of technology. Today, what we're seeing is that it's becoming pervasively available on the web. Its main success has been its ability to have an evolutionary architecture. This starts with fundamental first principles engineering, which has allowed us to migrate and evolve our users from iteration to iteration of the technology. So it wasn't stuck to a particular platform. It evolved the concepts and the science of geography and GIS along the way. And our users have been taken along with that evolution. So today we have virtually all the same organizations that started with us many decades ago that are now powered by the latest and greatest technologies, moving it onto the web, moving it into the field, connecting the entire enterprise. Well, there are hundreds of thousands of organizations around the world that are using the ArcGIS platform. A very popular Lithuanian website map called Maps is making GIS and geographic information popular in the citizen or in the consumer space. This is very interesting because it gives me feedback that we can reach vast audiences with basic science information and change the way that they see and operate in their world. Each year we have an annual users conference in San Diego where tens of thousands of our users come and give us feedback. This is one of the big sources for us to change and evolve the software. They share with us use cases that are challenging for them with our base platform. And as a result, we evolve the platform. The meetings here in the Baltics is exactly to serve that purpose, to bring our users together, and we can meet them face to face, engineers talking with users and application people. This has been a magical success for how we've been able to evolve the company and stay in tune with relevant issues. There are still many things to do in the world, address our greater challenges, and also apply geography in new niches. We see one of those niches as healthcare, driving a healthier world. Another one is in advanced biological modeling, like biodiversity modeling. For some of these, we are using advanced machine learning and artificial intelligence to enrich the kind of information, make better predictions of what's going on, and address those in meaningful ways. Our first generation of technology was called ArcInfo. That was invented and first released in 1982. The second big iteration happened in 1998. That was called ArcGIS 8.0. And then a few years later, ArcGIS 9.0. And then a few years later, ArcGIS 10.0. The pace of this change is increasing, but also the amount of technology that's introduced in each new iteration is increasing. This is built on a kind of evolutionary architecture which allows us to add faster, more rich, more powerful capabilities in every release. But one of our biggest challenges is reach. We would like actually everybody on the planet to be able to have access to the kind of knowledge and understanding that GIS is building for the planet. So our biggest activity this year is working on that reach factor, building simpler tools, less expensive technology, accessible technology out on the open web so that everybody can get the geographic advantage and move ahead. Shortly after leaving Harvard University, my wife and I moved back to California and started Esri. We did it as a kind of startup, very modestly at first, and we made many mistakes because we were learning how to do business at the same time as doing the kind of work that we were up to, meaning making computer maps and doing projects. Looking back on it, I grimace at some of the stupid mistakes that we made, but at the same time, it was a learning exercise. And today, as young kids are doing startups, I advise them to live very cheaply, live in their car, eat beans, drink water, so that they have enough resources to be able to withstand all of the mistakes that they make while they're starting a company. I pronounce it Esri. Recently, Forbes, a famous American magazine, reported Esri as being 15th ranking employer in the United States in terms of employee happiness. My opinion is that the reason why people are happy here is that we do a lot of things that support and enrich employees in healthcare, in work hours, in supporting them doing their work that they really want to work on. And I think this has resulted in a much happier profile of worker, and they stay longer, they enjoy what they're doing, they enrich the overall organization. My wife and I's gift to the Nature Conservancy for conserving this special place in California is based on a long-standing belief system that at this particular point in history, we need to do everything we can to protect rich biodiverse areas. And this one is one that's really rich. The reason why we went public with this donation is because we want to encourage other people who have the means to be able to copy our pattern and do similar sorts of things. Now, Laura and I are not rich in the normal sense, so we have contributed our basic fortune to this kind of activity in hopes that somebody else will copy that and do similar things. Speaking about Esri, however, we are committed to everything that we can do, building technology that can support this same mission, both the missions in conservation and also the missions in education. Some years ago, we made a gift to first schools in the United States in secondary categories, and also this year to all schools around the world to be able to have cloud-based geographic education integrated into their STEM education. We believe that this will build a new generation of children who will both be spatially literate and computationally literate, and also know about the value of addressing problems using problem-based learning to address problems like conservation and all the big challenges that are facing us in society today. Being one of the leaders of Esri is a constantly challenging activity. There's about a dozen of us who run the organization, and things, as a technology company, things are always changing. Technology is changing, markets are changing, and we need to be agile and responsive to what's going on. So my typical day is I show up and things happen in my office that are totally surprising. Some of them very organized, like meetings, other ones just out of the blue changes. And we have to adjust. We have to have an organizational structure that allows this adjustment to very quickly happen. So my philosophy from a management perspective has been to have an agile organization that allows us to move on a dime. So when a new technology comes, a new business opportunity comes, we can move. That means not being so committed to the past, but totally committed to the future and creating the future. I think lots of people love maps. Paper maps, maps on the display screen, interactive maps on devices. The world is increasingly full of geographic knowledge. And I don't think paper maps are going away, just like I don't think books are going away. Access to geographic knowledge in real time is increasingly happening, but the whole world of paper publishing and learning map skills like orienteering is certainly not going away. My advice to young people starting a company is stay focused. Find one thing that you're really passionate about, not sort of a thing like chasing money, but find something that actually means something in your life that you'd really like to do, and do that. Even though it doesn't make a lot of money, find that thing that's going to really turn you on. That's what I was lucky in finding as an early student, and I couldn't stop myself. It was like a drug addiction. I was pulled to it, and that's still the same today, is seeing the value of geographic knowledge, applying it in planning, creating a better world. These are tremendously motivating things. And my colleagues around me in Esri, they're full of the same juice. They get turned on by thinking that their lives will matter, not just showing up in a job. So that lightens up the load for managers, it lightens up the load for accounting people, because you just have a whole movement that's taking off and working. And that's not this year, it's not the last 10 years, it's been 50 years of exactly that kind of experience. So it's easy for me to remain motivated. And my colleagues who really take life seriously, in their 80s, even in their 90s, are still moving fast with their basic passion that they found early in their life. There's not sort of something to do in a minor way that will make you better. You've just got to find that core thing that really gets you excited and makes you want to move all the time.